You know, the fact that in Russia and in China and in much of the rest of the world today is a very somber as well as a very joyful day should be brought home to those of us who are living here in the land of the clueless, the United States, where actually, of course, there are still a lot of surviving veterans of that war. More importantly, there are a lot of people whose memory of what that war promised, never again, is a searing reality which is experienced on a day-to-day basis. It's experienced by people in a lot of different parts of the world we never think about, you know, because there were people who fought in the Second World War from all sorts of countries. Countries like Cameroon, countries like Senegal, countries also that were yet to be born as independent nations. We don't think about the idea that there are people who are in the West Bank who have managed to survive to the age of 90 and who hear the idea of never again in a very, very peculiar way right now. This is not something that necessarily is present in our minds. When we talk about the idea of defeating fascism, it's important for us, I think, all to realize that that's a day-to-day and hour-to-hour fight. It's something that was not defeated at the end of the Second World War. Lyndon LaRouche, of course, who was so important to many of the people here in the room in terms of straightening out our own conception of what that battle was about, which was that it wasn't a particular war simply at a particular time, but it was actually a form of expression of something much older. We talk about it in terms of Rome. We talk about it in terms of the idea of an evil Olympian oligarchy. And we talk about the idea of city builders and poets who stood against city destroyers and lunatics who often achieve great notoriety and fame, but they never achieve immortality. That's an illusion that they ever get that. The people that fought and died in the Great War, 1939 to 1945, are immortal. Some of their representatives have survived, and one of them is going to talk to us right now. Actually, two of the people are going to talk to us in succession, and I would ask that we first hear from a veteran of that war, Bill Monroe, and then Al Korby. Bill.
First and foremostly, good evening, all of my family. You're not just friends, I consider you my family. I'm grossly indebted to so many here. I want to take you back momentarily to my high school days. At that particular time, it was compulsory that you took a foreign language. Unknown to me at that particular time, for some reason, I took French, not knowing my destiny. May 1943, I left the United States on board the Queen Mary on my way to England. Off the shore of England were 6 German U-boats to try to intercept the Queen Mary, but we fooled them. We made a sharp detour to the left and went up to Gower, Scotland, where I left the ship and got on board a train down to Lance in England. I want to say that the people in England treated me exceptionally good. They call us the Tan Yanks. As you can see, my coloration is tan. Okay, and when it became time for D-Day, I got aboard a Liberty ship and left Dover, England, crossed the English Canal, and got as close to France as was practicable. And then I had to transfer to what they call a LST, landing ship tank. And that got as close to shore as it could. They dumped us out in about 4 to 5 feet of water, sink or swim. I had a 9-pound rifle. I had a big pack on my back, a gas mask, helmet, and all that sort of stuff, and I had to get to shore. When I got to shore, nobody had to tell us to dig in because the Germans were very good with their shooting. Later on, happily, I survived that. Later on, as I moved into the inland and things began to finally settle down, I had a most overwhelming experience. The mayor of Saint-Mary-Église became friendly with me, and he said to me one day, "Sergeant Monroe, I'd like you to come over and meet somebody." So I said, as soon as I get leave, I will. So when I got leave, I went there, and when I walked in, look at me. The reason why I had to elevate my head because the gentleman I was confronted was quite tall. I knew instantaneously who he was. It was General Charles de Gaulle. Over my shoulder, I'd seen the mayor coming forth with something, a big bottle of 1925 champagne. Okay, so now we talked a while in French, and I finally said, "Causez-vous anglais?" "Of course I speak English." So we continued our conversation in English. Now, going over a little bit further, and you folks have heard about the Battle of the Bulge. My outfit, including myself, I got up there, trapped in the Battle of the Bulge. I suffered frostbitten feet, frostbitten hands, and other atrocities. But I'm happy to tell you today, thank God I made it. I was transferred finally to the Philippines and then back to the States where I joined you folks. And it's been a pleasure addressing you this evening. God bless each of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I feel the same sort of warmth that Bill has said he feels here. We're both veterans of the same war, and we're now in the Army in a new peaceful war. We intend to win. But we're enjoying being alive. We're in our 90s, and we feel that we're all part of the same renaissance that's happening. We're connecting the whole planet. We're exploring the whole universe, and we're even learning to control it. So we're all enjoying being explorers and discoverers, adventurers, creators, scientists, all positive things. So in other words, we're having fun. As the poet Arthur O'Shaughnessy said, we are the music makers, we are the dreamers of dreams. We are the movers and shakers of the world forever, it seems. So let's get on with our moving and shaking.
All right, all right.
going to ask both Bill and Al to join me again for a minute up at the podium. We have a special presentation. Come. Can you
just do the presentation?
just do it? Okay. All right. We have a very, very special presentation. It is a certificate in honor of both of these fine gentlemen's more than 70 years of service in the fight for justice for all humanity. And this is presented today to William Monroe and to Al Korby on May 9th, 2015, on the 70th anniversary of VE Day, for their role in the victory over fascism in Europe by the New York, New Jersey Schiller Institute, a purpose which higher reason hath conceived, that man's afflictions urge, 10,000 times defeated, may never be abandoned. That's Friedrich Schiller from the Don Carlos. So thank you very much to both of you. And I'll just hold them up. Okay. Okay.
I failed to add that I was honored very, very recently with a flag that flew over our nation's capital the first day of October 2014 by our Representative Donald Payne Jr.
Wow.
Now, the reference that Al made to moving and shaking does not refer to our upcoming musical performances. We are not going gently or otherwise into that good night. What we'll do, both because of time and also because it's both most efficient, is I'm going to ask that the performers, especially people who are performing songs, just come up. And I'll announce the order so we can sort of move one to the other. And you'll tell people what you're going to perform. That way we don't need any editorialization. So, you want to do that right now? Yeah. Okay, fine. So let me announce it, though, before, so everybody knows. So we have Lynn Speed first, then Scott Mooney and Margaret Greenspan, then Nancy Geis, and then Frank Mathis. Okay, that's our order after Elliot.
I have a message from another veteran, a gentleman named Neil Gallagher, who many people here know, former U.S. Congressman from Bayonne, New Jersey, Al's hometown. Congratulations for what you're doing. I want to wish all the survivors in the world congratulations. We all owe the survivors a great debt of gratitude for carrying on our civilization. The Russians who suffered such casualties, the Chinese, Churchill, and the English during the lonely, dark days before we came in. Of course, FDR. One story, there was a lot of anti-FDR criticism that Mrs. Roosevelt's favorites were serving as honor guard at Hyde Park, Roosevelt's home. When they changed that, I was interviewed. After being shot up in Europe, spending 6 months in hospitals, getting 3 Purple Hearts, I was selected to join the FDR Honor Guard, which was to replace the group that was criticized. As I was traveling to Hyde Park, the news came across that the president had died. I was then assigned to teach ROTC at Rutgers. Again, my congratulations to all of you on this occasion for your work. And to my old neighbor from Bayonne, Al Korby, I can't believe he's 90. Representative Neil Gallagher. Let me just take a moment further from this book, which we immortalized in LaRouche, on LaRouche PAC TV, The Privacy War, entitled One Congressman, J. Edgar Hoover and the Fight for the Fourth Amendment. He describes this period, August 18, 1944. He goes through a battle of Argenton-Falaise Gap. General Searby asked Lieutenant Gallagher, this is a biography, asked Gallagher to take 4 men on a patrol to locate the enemy. The general went along and they located a German tank in a hedgerow to the north of Argenton. When the patrol opened fire, the tank withdrew 2 machine guns supporting it, opened fire on the general, Gallagher, and his men. General Searby started toward one of the machine guns. Gallagher prevailed upon the general to give him the honor, which he did reluctantly. The men covered his advance, while Gallagher knocked out both machine guns and wounded the tank commander who was visible in the turret. The battalion moved up in support of the 1st. Later that morning, when the fog lifted, the 3rd Battalion was caught suddenly in an open field. When Colonel Lindell stood up and yelled to get the troops moving, he was hit. Gallagher and a fellow officer got the troops in hand after they had been under heavy attack by the German troops. They then reported to Colonel Golden that they were ready to counterattack. During the battle for Argentan, according to Broderick, quote, Lieutenant Gallagher was running around taking grenades from everyone and throwing them like baseballs, knocking out machine guns in a tank. He was cited on the spot by General McBride. Other action followed, including the capture of the headquarters of a German division and more than 200 prisoners by a patrol he was leading. It wasn't until later that year, as Patton's Third Army rolled beyond the now German Alsace to the German border, that Gallagher suffered a fateful injury. They were on their way into Germany. General Abrams, then a light colonel, was commanding a tank battalion to which his rifle company was attached. At the time, they would run up 120 miles and behind German lines when a political decision was made to deny Patton the gas needed to move the Third Army forward. Of course, the situation seemed incredible to them. In their view, they could have gone straight through to Berlin, since the Germans were falling back so rapidly that they couldn't organize a counterattack. In the midst of this mammoth reorganization, Gallagher, working from a vehicle steeped in burning equipment, was rocked when a nearby German ammunition truck exploded. The truck was thrown in the air. By the time it crashed to the ground, Gallagher had taken shrapnel in his right arm and lower back. Promoted to company commander for valor in action, he received 8 decorations, including 3 Purple Hearts, a Bronze Star, a presidential citation. After a short stint in an infantry field hospital, he was transported to Oxford, England, where he was to recover, that is until Britain's disastrous Red Devil engagement. Owing to a shortage of hospital space, he was sent back to the States, where he spent 6 months recovering from his wounds in an Army hospital in Ozark, Alabama. In February of '45, Gallagher was discharged from the hospital, reassigned from the pool of wounded infantry officers to the position of honor guard for President Roosevelt in Hyde Park. Recently returned from his historic conference at Yalta with Churchill and Stalin, the president was in failing health. He died on April 12 of that year. This caused a last-minute change in Gallagher's assignment. He became assistant professor of military science back home in New Jersey at Rutgers. So, greetings from that hero.
All right.